Welcome back to another episode of Three Siblings Welcome to a Bar. I'm Storm, the youngest sibling.
I'm Deshay, the oldest sibling.
And I'm Sage, the middle sibling. I thought you were going to miss it, Deshay. So I was like getting ready to say something as you started talking.
Just feel like, it's your turn, go! Like, nudge them.
Nudge them,
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
We've been doing this for how long? We've been doing this for how long and we can't figure this out?
A while.
Yeah.
A while. Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Again, we've done this for how long? Like, everybody should just know better.
Yeah. If you notice us mess up, no, you didn't. That's what I'm going off of.
Mind your business.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
So I know we had like a full episode, like not that long ago, that we were talking about TikToks for like the entire episode.
Listen, that's how we disassociate. So leave me alone.
Thank you. I went down this rabbit hole. I found this song that I'm like obsessed with, and I couldn't stop listening to it. But I found this video, and have you guys heard of? Hold on, I'm trying to find his name. Dennis Nielsen.
Maybe.
No. So there was this guy in like the late 70s, and he was like this like really cool like mod guy, and he knew a bunch about music, and like a lot of people came to him to like ask about music and stuff like that. So he would pick people up from the bar, and he's like, we can go back to my house, have a drink, and we can listen to some music. Like I just got some new records. So he'd bring them back to his house, and he would talk about music and stuff. And then he's like, oh, there's this song, but like when you listen to it, you have to have headphones on because it's the best way to listen to it. It's the only way to listen to it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And while they're listening to it, he's making them drinks. And so they can't hear what he's putting in their drinks.
Oh.
And then there's a whole bunch of other shit that happens. I wanted to play you guys this song because after I heard that story and I hear this song, it gives me such crazy chills now. I'm going to see if you guys can hear this. Well, you don't know me, but I know you. Dude.
I hate that song. It's so creepy.
Fucking imagine.
No, I'm good.
No.
It's like, I think I'm going to tell that story. I just wanted to see if like people react.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And the girl, the video that I saw, the girl was like, and you guys are using this as like a sound for like really intense shit. And like nobody knows where
I had no idea.
Exactly.
I thought it was just like a made up song.
Yeah, is it like a movie or something? Is that where the song came from, or did someone?
No, it was like it was a late 70s, and this girl made that song. And there's like it's like a 4-minute song, like it's a long song. But that's the one that he would play whenever he told them.
That's the one he would make them
the
listen to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so creepy.
That gives me the ick.
But also, if you go look up, Richard was showing me a few of those today. It's that song, and it's AI generated like horror to that song.
Yes.
So freaking creepy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The ones where like the faces start to move and like become other faces and shit. Yes.
Yeah. Like there was one that he was showing me with this kid that was sitting there. It was like it was all like pictures, but their eyes moved. Just the eyes would move. So it was this kid that was sitting there with like his mouth open, like he was surprised. Like but like his eyes would move, and then it was like it would like show you under his bed, and there was just a head like upside down, and it was like, "Hi, I'm your mother," or whatever it says in the song. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's so creepy." I hate them.
There are a few songs on TikTok that as soon as I hear them, I either know it's going to be the best video I've ever seen, or I can't watch this.
Yeah,
and the ocean, the Viking song, like the yo.
Oh yeah, that one.
I love it. Yes.
It's either this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, or my stomach instantly drops all the way into my butt. Like I can't. It's crazy.
Listen,
it's crazy.
Not to like air out my not being able to handle my anxieties. But
I feel that.
I've passed out a few times in my life for different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Shay knows.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at telling when I'm going to pass out. And I'm usually pretty good at like keeping that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I passed out recently when my son had his surgery. I don't think I told y'all this.
No.
Whoa. Did y'all see that?
There's
The
bubbles.
Stop.
Why is there a filter?
Why did that happen? This is not TikTok. Why? Stop it.
Oh my
For
god.
those of y'all that can't see, I just did thumbs up and it did the thumbs up thing.
Yeah.
Does it do a thumbs down?
Is it like a filter? That's
What?
weird.
Oh my god. Okay,
So
stop.
weird.
Just remind me to not do that because it's going to distract me.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I'm highly claustrophobic, and so the room that they put us in for his like recovery is one of those where it was like literally the bed, and then there's a curtain that wraps like right along the bed.
Right.
And so I was already had anxiety because my son was having surgery, and then I was put in this tiny room, and so I like switched with Richard so that I could be by the opening, and I opened the curtain a little bit and like stuck my head out. Richard was like trying to make Garrett feel better. He's like, "It's okay, buddy." Like, you know, when you come out of anesthesia, you're all like weird and whatever.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I kept telling Richard, I'm like, I don't feel good. Like something's like, I'm lightheaded. I don't feel good. But usually I can get myself, and I knew that I wasn't going to get myself together enough. And so I looked at Richard and I said, I'm going to pass out. I was kind of like warning him, like, it's going to be fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with passing out. It's not the end of the world. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, your lips are white. Like, I could tell I was scaring him, but I wanted to warn him before I did it that, like, don't freak out. I'm going to pass out. Well, I literally, he was like, because I don't think I ever passed out, but apparently I did. And he like, and I do remember like my head and my like shoulder falling, but I remember getting like right back up, and I opened the curtain. I said, I need a nurse. I'm going to pass out. And so then the nurse came and like took me to a room. And just FYI, if you can get your head below, like your feet above your head and lay down, the blood will rush to your head and it will keep you from passing out. Just FYI, if you're somebody that passes out like I do.
That's good to know.
Anyway, so they had taken me to a room, and I was in there, and I'm like waiting for them to come get me because they had hooked me up, and I didn't want to take all the stuff off and it start like, you know, so I'm like waiting for them to come in there to unhook me from everything. I had a point to this story and I don't remember what it is. Oh, and anyway, so when I start watching TikToks that like really make me uncomfortable, like the like underwater ones, it will literally make my heart start racing, and then I will get lightheaded, and I literally have to turn it off, or I'm going to pass out. Like, it's so silly. I know that's like the most ridiculous thing that's ever
it's a
been
thing.
said, but it's like, I can't.
There's one girl, and there's something called submechanophobia. And it's the fear of mechanical stuff in water. So like,
I mean,
you know, like amusement park rides and shit, where like the like animatronics like come out of water and stuff. It's the fear of those things. And me watching her videos has given me like such anxiety around those things. It's wild. It is so wild.
I hate like Pirates of the Caribbean. When you have to like walk over that, I hate it. I literally, it makes me nervous. Yes. And I know that water's maybe a foot deep. Like, I know it's not. Yeah. But it's just the thought of knowing that there's like tracks under there and stuff. Yes. Like, it gives me, I hate it. I hate it. It's horrific.
Oh, it's so bad.
That's so funny. So I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody ever wants to like go out of their way to scare the shit out of all of this, they've got all of the things.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
We're just a nervous bunch. We can't help it.
I can't. Yes. Listen.
You know what I do? This is weird. Maybe that's not weird. But I'm the one that closes down the house at night because I just need to do it for myself.
Yeah.
For my own anxiety. So I will like double lock the front door, and Matt gets so annoyed because like, why do you do that? I have a gun. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Okay? I don't have a gun.
Do you know how many people that have guns that still get murdered? Like,
like, are you going to be quick enough to be like, pew pew? I don't think so. That's not going to
fix everything.
Anyways, so
yeah,
we have like the front door, we have the back door to the backyard, and then we have the door to the garage.
Oh yeah.
So I know the garage door is closed, but my brain doesn't let me believe that it really is. So I open the door to the garage and I'm like, okay, I need to look at it. You're closed. And then I close that door and I lock it. And then before I turn the kitchen light off, I will look at the stove to make sure that the burners are off. Even if I didn't fucking cook.
Listen.
Right.
What
You never know. What if Sammy walked by and turned something on? You don't know.
Exactly.
What if he was just like, turned it on?
Exactly.
You never know. Like, that's the kind of stuff my brain tells me. And I look out the front door to make sure all of the cars that are normally in front of our house are still there. Even if...
Really? That's a weird one.
Mainly it's Eli's truck. Like, I'm not thinking somebody stole it. Like, and I literally have just
making sure
given Eli a hug, told him good night. He's right there. But I look.
Checking on your teenage son. Yeah.
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 Yo, I can't with myself.
The garage one would freak me out because I just think of Scream. Every time I see a garage in general, I think of Scream. That's just...
I just pop my head out
my brain
and
goes.
I see that it's closed and I'm like, all right, we're good.
No, going into Mom's garage
that's too much.
Terrifies me. I don't know what it is about her garage in particular, but
there's so many places to hide.
Me. Yes.
There's so many places to hide. So I'm like, somebody could be hiding to pop out and murder me at any second.
No, when I walk in there, I have my head down, I go straight to the fridge and straight back inside. I am not, we're not doing this. I can't.
No, I can't. It's too much. My poor, sad brain handle it.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. But I'll probably do a story on this one. It was a vampire killer. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but anyway, I heard a podcast talk about his story, and then now I refuse to not check the windows to make sure all the windows are locked. And like right now, Richard and Stinky are in the computer room playing video games, and Richard had the door open to listen to the rain, or the window open. So now I know I'm gonna have to triple check that window and make sure it's shut and locked.
Yeah.
But I'm not weird about the doors. I'm not weird about stoves or anything else. But windows, I'm like,
yeah, I have a sliding glass door in my house, and the lock on the door is the first thing I check every single night. It's
you can never be too safe. Listen,
that's true.
You just can't be too safe.
Yeah,
that's true.
Jeez. Welcome to Anxiety Bunch with the three siblings.
So much fun. Oh my God.
I watched a TikTok the other day that was like, do you ever think about what mental illnesses you've given your children? And I'm like, yes, actually, I do all the time. Thank you.
So funny.
It's another anxiety of mine.
Yeah.
Because I will see, Eli will do things or say things and tell me something. He's like, well, I got to do this. And I'm like, what the bro, really? But then I'm like, wait. And then I realize how dumb it is because I do it. And I'm like, okay. Okay, son. Yeah. Let's talk about this.
Every time I'm around
Dad. It's not
Dad.
that big of a deal.
Yeah. Every time I'm around Dad and something happens, I'm like, thanks, Dad. And he just kind of smiles. He doesn't he doesn't say that it wasn't him because we all know. We all know where everything came from.
Yeah. It's nothing done on purpose, but it's just
exactly. Yeah. It's my way of dealing with it and joking about it.
Yeah.
Which is why we are so funny and pretty, because we deal with such fucking bad anxiety.
Listen,
absolutely.
You know what gives me anxiety now? Because I'm usually one that doesn't have the mental illnesses. I do have a little bit of anxiety, obviously, because I just talked about it making me pass out. But but all the other things that y'all deal with, I don't usually I'm not usually the one that has to deal with that. I'm really good at masking, maybe. I don't know that it's that I don't deal with it. I'm just good at swallowing it down really deep,
Exactly.
And threatening to move across the country. But
exactly.
Now there's that.
But now I've started I've passed out forever and it's never been a problem. But like ever since that stuff with Dad, I'm like, oh my God, I got to go get my heart checked out. I got to make sure I'm not dying. Oh my God, because I have all the physical illnesses, back problems, head problems, knee problems, everything else. And I'm like, damn, now my heart's going to be messed up.
Well, and that's the thing too. Your body will tell you, like, if your body will go into like fight or flight mode. Like that's probably why you pass out. Like from your anxieties, like being anxious and, you know, if you're depressed or whatever will make you feel ill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so, I mean, all that shit could be caused by, you know, your mind.
I was
mental illness.
So my anxiety, if it gets bad, I either throw up or I pass out, which is, it sounds horrible and it's disgusting.
I can't deal with y'all fucking passing out, okay?
Deshay's the one that deal with it every time.
Yes.
Because when I passed out, she had to come deal with me.
I've never passed out that bad. Like I pass out and I immediately am like I pass out literally for like a second and rock up.
When Storm
so that time wasn't anxiety. So again, my body does not like me, and my body thinks if there's anything wrong, that it's like, okay, you need to take a nap.
Yeah, now.
I have a bad back and a bad tailbone. Thanks, family.
Right.
Anyway, so we were sitting in the nail salon and it made my back and my tailbone hurt really bad. And so I know I needed to get up and walk. So I told the lady, because she was trying to finish, I said, no, I have got to get up and go to the bathroom, because I knew I had to get up and walk. Well, getting up and walking, I guess my body was like, what the hell? Because it hurts really bad to stand up after your butt has been hurting for so long. And so I got up and my body was like, just kidding. I fell in the hallway. And then I hear Deshay, because you know those little like fake flip-flop things they put on your feet. And so I hear her like, and she's like, Storm. Like, I'm fine. I swear I'm good. Like, I just can't get my life together.
I just imagine her running through the shop, like with her nails up and like her toes pointed all the way up. And she's just like, oh my god.
Oh, I can't breathe.
Oh my gosh.
Literally.
That's perfect.
Literally.
It was so funny. Oh my god. I mean, it was funny. It's funny now. I'm sure it wasn't funny to her at that point.
Yeah.
But...
Well, do you remember, I think, Sage, I think you were there. I know we all witnessed this at some point, you know, years ago when we all still lived at home and Dad was sick. And he had come home and he would just like randomly pass out. Do you remember when he passed out behind the couch, Sage, and you had to take his feet and he just pulled his feet down so that he would...
I do remember that. I had just bought some new shoes.
Sorry, Dad.
I showed him my new shoes, and he passed out over the back of the couch. So I just kind of like pulled him back over.
Like...
Yeah. And then when he came to, I was like, I didn't think the shoes were that exciting, Dad.
Oh my god! Listen, y'all. At this point, we were too used to it, so it was just like, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah, so we're not heartless. It wasn't like we're not assholes. It was something that we had been dealing with for a while, and we knew it was happening. So it was, I remember that. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So that was fun. So this story that I'm about to tell y'all actually gave me a few times where I'm like, okay, I got to turn this off and walk away for a second. So if I pass out in the middle of this, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Good content. We'll just put it all over Instagram. Okay. It's fine. Okay. So I think Sage will like this story, but it's gross. It's describes a person that was in a lot of pain. That's the part, because again, if I'm in pain a lot, it makes me pass out. So when I think about being in pain, my body's like, oh, let's take a nap. So
exactly.
But this is about Armin is what I'm going to call him. Meiwes, aka the cannibal of Germany.
I know all about this story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this is a wild story.
Armin was born December 1st, 1961, and he had two half siblings. When he was 3, they moved into a gigantic house. There's 36 bedrooms.
That's insane. That's a castle.
That's insane.
That's a mansion.
So it was, yes, it was huge. And when he was 8, his father abandoned him and his mother.
Damn.
So that's sad. Mm-hmm. Quit complaining. You have a 36 bedroom house.
Right. Pick a struggle.
Again, we're not heartless. It's a joke.
No, exactly.
So I was about to say the same thing again. We don't need to know that. That's sad. So his mother was not nice to him. She kind of, after, his father abandoned them, she had this hatred towards men, and she took it out on him. Yeah. And she would call him Männchen. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I know I don't really know how to do a German accent, but it's a German word. And it's a German name that you would call a girl. Okay. Is what she would call him.
Yeah.
And he was made to do everything. He had to take care of the house. He had to do all the shopping. He had to take care of his mother. I mean, everything. That's just ever since he was 8 till adulthood. So he was super lonely, and he just had this like despair because his family had fallen apart. Obviously, because I'm sure his mom was happy, and he got to see his dad, and then now all of a sudden she hates men and taking it out on him. And I'm sure that's a weird thing, because he might, at 8, I mean, I wouldn't have understood what was going on.
Exactly. He doesn't know. Yeah.
Like, he might think like, this is love. Like, my mom loves me. She's but like, it's not how that should be. Yeah. He started becoming obsessed with the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. Okay. Yes. He would sometimes daydream about having a blonde little brother that he would be able to keep with him at all times, because he would eat him.
What?
As a child, this is what this kid was daydreaming about.
Oh, no.
German fairy tales, and like the fairy tales in general, like back then, they're fucked up.
They're crazy.
They have some really dark.
We did a story on that. They were bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when he was old enough, he joined the army, and he was in the army for 12 years. So this is when there was the Berlin Wall. So there was East Germany and West Germany. He was on the West German army. Okay. So he had a lot of people around him. They kept him busy. They kept his mind occupied. They like challenged him, they kept him. It's like being in school. Like, I'm learning. It's keeping my mind busy. So if I'm so busy doing this, I'm not busy doing that.
Right.
And he, it helped carve any sort of cannibalistic ideas that he had. Like, they were just, I don't know that they were gone, but they weren't something that he was daydreaming about, or, He never really had a girlfriend, or at least one that lasted longer than like a night. He had even asked one of his friends in the army if they thought he was gay. And his friend told him, he's like, that's going to be your decision. Like, I can't choose what you like. Like, you have to decide if you're gay. And he started becoming a really heavy drinker. He was driving drunk one night, crashed a car, lost his driver's license. He got his license back, and then immediately proceeded to crash another car drunk.
Oh.
Okay. In 1993, he left the army to take care of his mother. So his mother became elderly, and so she needed some help.
Yeah.
He, so there was some speculation about this that I read. Some of it was saying that like he kind of got kicked out of the army because of the drunk driving incidents, and some of it was like he left. So I'm assuming, there's this story and that story and what actually happened. So I'm assuming it's somewhere in the middle. I'm sure he was being threatened, and so he decided to leave.
Right.
But after he left, he became a computer technician and had a job where he looked over the computers of large banks. Like, that's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So a little bit later, the internet became a thing. So this, where he was able to search stuff and look stuff up, he realized he wasn't the only one that's ever wanted to eat somebody, that's something that a lot of people think about and daydream about. So he would start websites. He would make fake pictures of men that were butchered. And that's what he did with his spare time.
Yeah.
He would take animal meat and shape it to look like human body parts, and he would cut into it, and doing all this while he was taking pictures, and then he would put them on the internet.
Ew.
So what he would do is he would upload those pictures. I'm just speculating from what I read. He would edit them to make them look real.
Yeah.
And then upload them to the internet.
Right. Okay.
And then on September 2nd, 1999, he came home from work and found that his mother had died from a heart attack. At this point, it gave Armin a newfound freedom that he had never had before.
Yep.
Right? Because he always was constantly having to take care of his mother. And then he was in the army. And then he immediately had to go back to taking care of his mother. And now he's in this 36-bedroom house.
Yeah.
All by himself. He's got nobody he has to answer to.
Right.
2 months after his mother had passed away, there was absolutely no trace that his mother ever lived in that house. Like, he got rid of everything.
Instantly. That's very quick.
And it's also really sad. Like, you don't want to keep anything of your mother's. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So at this point, now that he's got all this freedom, right? So he can now change his desires into fruition, or he can try to, at least.
Right.
So what he did is he started searching on the computer for other cannibals and willing victims. He wanted to find somebody who wanted to be eaten.
Right.
So here's my not so fun fact that I learned watching a documentary about this man. Cannibalism is rare if you're talking about someone going out of their way, murdering somebody and eating them. It is not rare when it comes to war. So, like during wars, a lot of people get raped more often than usual. Yeah. A lot of people get murdered for no reason more often than usual. Well, apparently, people get eaten more often than usual. Jeez. And that is just one of the things that they usually go out of their way to hide. So, not that rape is okay, but it's usually a little bit more, I hate to say this, accepted, quote, than somebody eating somebody. Because it's like, it's just two different taboos, right?
Yeah.
And so they're usually pretty good at covering up that part. Because I had no idea. I would never thought that. But apparently it's pretty common.
Wow.
So he had made a post on the internet where he said he was looking for a handsome young man between the ages of 18 and 30 that was fit, but not too muscular, that wanted to be killed and eaten. A man named Jorg agreed to it. So they had a lot of conversation back and forth, what they wanted, whatever. I guess Jorg probably didn't think that this was real. And so he finally said, no, like, I don't really want to do this. And at that point, Armin was like, okay, no. Because what Armin wanted was somebody that needed to be willing.
Yes.
He wanted somebody who wanted this.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to keep them. He wanted to have this person with him.
Yeah.
So what he started doing was he started taking pictures of himself with mannequins, and he would saw the body parts off and he would hang them from the ceilings. And he even started making paper mache heads, taking pictures and posting them to the internet. Mm-hmm. Kind of like this is what I can do.
Right.
Would you like this to be you?
Yeah.
And then on February 14th, 2001, a 42-year-old man from Berlin named Bernd Brandis messages Armin and agrees to be his victim. So they messaged back and forth about the best ways to be eaten and how they was going to use the meat. Brandis even had messaged Armin saying that he could use his skull as an ashtray.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Barnes had named the original message dinner. Mm-hmm. And that he offered to be eaten alive and not slaughtered.
Yeah.
So if anybody's younger than we are, you might not get my reference. But if you can remember like Zynga, right? Mm-hmm. Where you had like your name and then you had like the title of it and then you had, or you put like the date or whatever and then you would type a message. So this is exactly what that was. So it was literally named dinner, the date, message. Like crazy. So Brandis had a partner and he was hiding all of this from him. So he was deleting all the emails, all the messages, everything. And he told his partner that he was going on a work trip. But really, he was going to go see Armin. Mm-hmm. He had bought a one-way ticket to Castle, and Armin picked him up and drove him back to his house. Remember, his 36th bedroom. I can't deal. Such a huge house. Like, it's crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when they got back to the house, they walked into the kitchen. Armin had made them some coffee, and he left the room. When he came back, Brandis was completely naked and had told Armin that he wanted him to admire his dinner.
Why would you agree to be eaten alive?
Mental illness. I mean, it's gotta be. I don't know, but that's it's.
Deals with trauma in different ways, Deshay.
Yeah. Oh, you mean you've never thought about being eaten alive? What do you mean?
Just kill me first. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
God. So during their online discussions, he had made it very clear to Armin that he had wanted to be castrated. Like he wanted Armin to castrate him. And I don't know if maybe this was like didn't know his own, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like gender dysphoria or something.
Yes, because in his brain, he really wanted to get rid of his male pieces.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he wanted to be a woman, but like didn't, it was the early 2000s, so it wasn't really like a thing.
Not as common, or like in the media,
or it was, or you were gonna get murdered because God forbid you had that thought or whatever.
Yeah.
So he wanted to be unconscious when he was being killed. So he took a bottle of cold medicine. And he said when he started becoming sleepy, that Armin could castrate him. Mm-hmm. So about 30 minutes later, after he had taken the cold medicine, he changed his mind. And again, Armin wanted somebody that was willing. He needed them to want this. So Armin started driving him back to Castle to go home. Mm-hmm. And Brandis was like, this is going to cause a lot of problems. If I go to Berlin, this is going to be a really big fight with my partner. And he didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So he said that they should go back, but they had to wait until he was completely out before Armin could castrate him. So Barnes never actually became unconscious, but very sleepy.
Which is fucking wild for drinking a whole bottle of medicine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when he went back, he had ended up taking the rest of the cold medicine and 20 sleeping pills. But again, I'm sure your brain is like,
you're gonna die if you fall
you're gonna die.
Right,
so like he's like
fight or flight.
Exactly. Yeah. So his body doesn't make him pass out. It just makes him be able to fight 20 sleeping pills.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at this point, okay, so after he had taken, I skipped a couple bullets. So after he had taken this 20 sleeping pills, or no, it was before that. Right when they got back to Armin's house, Armin set up the video camera. He wanted all of this on video because Brandes had changed his mind. So he wanted on video that he wanted this, that it was okay with him that Armin ate him.
Yeah. The consent is null and void now. He's has way too much shit in his system.
So he's got all this on video. He's videoing everything, right? So, okay. So again, never becomes unconscious, but is very sleepy. And he told Armin that he thinks that Armin should try to bite off his penis first.
Oh, God.
Well, that didn't work.
Right.
So then he grabbed a kitchen knife to try to cut it off. Well, it wasn't sharp enough.
Oh, my God.
Ugh, I hate it. So then he found another knife and was able to cut it clean off. Could you imagine being bitten and then sawed at and then, oh God, I can't.
Makes
oh my God. Hurt. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Don't pass out.
I'm not. I'm calm. I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to go lay up. Okay, so Brandes apparently wanted to try to eat his penis too. So he tried to eat it raw, but he couldn't get it because it was too chewy. Armin then decided to fry it up in a pan with some salt, pepper, wine, and garlic.
Okay.
And then he tried it with some of Brandes's fat. Okay. But at this point, it was too burnt to consume. So he fed that part of his penis to his dog.
All of that for literally nothing.
Wow.
So at this point, Brandes would have lost so much blood and would have been so weak that he wouldn't have been able to eat it anyway. So Brandes tells Armin at this point that he wants to be placed in a warm bath because he was getting cold and he thought that being in the warm bath would help the blood drain out of him and he could die quicker. Could you imagine like that too? Could you imagine just sitting there knowing you're dying?
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like just So Armin gets him in a warm bath. He goes to the other room and starts reading a Star Trek novel.
Okay. Wow.
2 hours later, Brandes yells out for Armin. 2 hours he was sitting in that tub.
Yeah.
Also, can you imagine sitting in a tub with a big ass open wound from your penis sitting in warm water? Do you know how bad that would hurt? Like, I'm just thinking if I have a scratch on my leg and I get hot water on it, I'm like, ow! Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I hate it here. Okay. Anyway, so 2 hours later, he yells for Armin. Armin walks in the bathroom and finds Brandis had passed out because he was trying to get out of the bathtub. So all the pain from trying to get out of the bathtub made him pass out. Armin carries him into a bed, lays him down, and Brandis tells him, if I'm still alive in the morning, we'll feast on my genitalia, but don't you dare call an ambulance.
Damn.
Okay, but you have to keep in mind, all of this is Armin's word. We don't know for sure exactly what was said.
Right.
On March 10th, 2001, at 5 a.m., Brandis had died. That means that man was alive all night long, laying in that bed.
Yeah.
This is making my legs hurt, y'all. I'm like, I gotta stretch. I can't deal.
This is so gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross. I hate it. Yeah. I warned y'all. I told you. Okay. I was about to say we're almost done, but we're not. So, deal. Okay. So, Armin then started butchering the body. He's videoing all of this. He is videos him cutting up the body, and he rewatched it over and over and over. He had placed all the meat into a freezer, and he did keep his head. On March 12th, he made a filet with sauce. Okay. He did that. That was the thing he did. He found that the meat was chewy, so he had minced it and made meatballs out of it. I don't think I wrote it in here, but there is one part where he did make a comment that it tastes like pork, which I have heard from multiple things, that it tastes like human bodies taste like pork.
The food truck guy, Metheny, said the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So over the next year, he will have eaten a total of 45 pounds of Brandis's body.
Ew.
But you have to remember that Brandis had a partner that was looking for him.
Right.
But you also have to remember that Brandis was keeping all of this from him. As far as his partner was concerned, he was on a business trip that he just never returned from. That was it.
Yeah.
He didn't have any of these emails back and forth. He didn't have any of these messages. He wasn't aware that Brandis wanted to die. He didn't have any of this information. So, dead end. What are they going to do?
Right.
And then in June of 2001, so only a few months later, Armin goes back to the internet and is trying to find another victim.
He got a taste for it, and now he knows he can do it.
Yeah. He is posting pictures of all the things that he did. He's got all these videos of him butchering them. He's got the head. He's got his body. He's got the fact that he ripped his penis off, all of that. And he's got pictures, everything. And he's got them all over the internet. And he has become a hero in the eyes of the cannibal community that there apparently is online.
Yeah.
Which disgusts me
in
itself. But because I was watching an interview with a psychologist, and they were like, all these people know that this is just something that they're going to have to dream about, that they're never going to actually be able to do it. Yeah. And then they get to watch this guy who actually did it. He did it. And so it's like, this man is top tier.
Yeah.
Disgusting. July of 2002, so a little over a year later, a medical student comes across his post from Armin wanting another victim. And he starts messaging Armin. And Armin, is discussing with this guy what he's done, what he can do, trying to convince this kid, I know what I'm doing. I can, I can take care of you if you come over here. So the kid is purposely talking to him to get him to commit everything he did. And he takes all of this information and goes and reports a crime to the police.
Yeah.
Because he's like, look, I've got all of these pictures. I've got all of this. Like, you need to go check this dude out.
Yeah.
On November 28th, 2002, they get a warrant to search Armin's house for, it was called presentation to minors. So everything that I looked up about that was like trying to like, it was, you know, like sexting and stuff with someone underage. So I'm not sure if maybe this medical student was a minor and just maybe some of the graphic things that he was saying were in sexual manner or something. I'm not sure, but that's what they were able to search his house on. Also to my FBI agent, because I searched a lot of stuff researching this, that I was like, if anybody looks at my computer, they are going to be like, what the freaking hell?
Yes.
Anyway, so they search everything. They search his house, everything. They did take a couple samples of the meat he had in the freezer. They took him in and questioned him, but I mean, there was no evidence. And they hadn't gotten the samples back from the meat yet. So, I mean, they had to let him go. They had nothing.
Yes.
Okay. So, a lot of this, I'm like, what were you thinking? You had a dead end with his partner because his partner had no idea who you were. He had no idea who was coming to see you, nothing. So you got away with it on that end.
Right.
Right. You chose to go back on the internet and find somebody and get yourself in trouble. So then they started looking at you. And at that point, they were like, well, we don't have anything. So, I mean, like, maybe he was just posting weird stuff on the internet and let him go. And you were let free again. But then you want to know what he did? I'll tell you.
Went back on the internet.
I'll tell you what he did.
Tell me. Please tell me. I need to know.
No, worse. He didn't go to the internet. He went to a lawyer and then told the lawyer everything that he did and said, how do I get out of this?
Listen, John Wayne Gacy, sit the fuck down.
You don't.
No.
You actual idiot.
God.
A literal freaking moron. This was like a family. I don't know if it was like a family friend, but it was a kid that lived in the same neighborhood. So apparently in this town that he lived in his 36 bedroom house, it was really small. And so there weren't really a lot of kids the same age and everything, just because there weren't that many people that lived there. But he did have one kid that was his same age. So they kind of grew up together, playing together and whatever. So now that this man is an adult and he was being interviewed, and he seems to think that Armin had met this girl that he wanted to start dating. And he thinks that Armin wanted to get this off his chest and get this cleared before he thought that he would be able to date this girl, is what he thought. But who knows?
Right.
Maybe he was literally just sitting in his house being like, I'm about to get caught.
What can
and talked himself
into it. Yeah.
I wonder if it, like, because it's on the internet and like he hadn't had any backlash before, like he thought this was like not okay, but like kind of okay, and so that's why he went to the lawyer and was like, "Can you do this for me?" Like,
make this go away. Yeah.
Excuse me. Anyway, so he went to the lawyer. Oh my goodness. And then the lawyer took him in front of a judge, and pretty much he said the same thing. This is all the stuff that I've done. How can I get out of this? The judge pretty much tells him, you need to go back to your house. You need to wait for the police to show up, and we'll see what happens after that.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's what else are you going to do?
And then on December 10th of 2002, he went to the police station and he told the police everything. That Brandis wanted to be killed, that he knew it was wrong, but Brandis insisted. He also did not want to cut off his penis, that was what Brandis wanted. And he wanted to do that for Brandis, so that way Brandis would have still agreed to be killed.
Right.
All Armis wanted to do was to chop him up for the meat. He took them back to his house. He gave them all the evidence they needed, all the videos, all the meat, everything. While doing excavations of the property, they found Brandis's head, hands, and feet. They found 35 bags of meat in the freezer. They took all of the parts, the head, the hands, and everything, and all the meat, and they were able to make an entire body minus the soft tissue that Armin had already eaten. So he was then arrested and sent to the Castle Penitentiary. And they were positively able to identify Brandis and notify his family.
Oh, man.
And the video that he had taken was able to verify everything was true. Brandis did want to die. He did want his penis cut off. He did agree to this.
Yeah.
This part. The doctor that was doing all of this was able to identify. So he was the one that was able to identify the body and all the things. So I guess I should have looked up the word. I forgot the word, but cutting off your penis. I mean, I guess there's certain parts of your body that your brain will go into like this. Dang it. I should have written the word down. This certain word, and it will make you be in extreme pain, specifically because your body knows you're going to die. And I guess your penis is one of those places. So he was saying that the amount of pain he would have been in having his penis cut off would have been astronomical. And it would have been one of the worst pains that any person would have felt. And they were saying that in the video that Brandis screamed for 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
That's
just disgusting.
so gross. So gross.
So 2 years after Brandis's death, Armin pleaded guilty to the assisted suicide of Brandis. They said that he talked so eloquently and told the whole story, quote, with a silver tongue. He looked right at the audience, right at the cameras while he was talking, and they pretty much said like he was putting on a show. He was enjoying telling everybody what happened. All right. So under German law, this was going to be really hard to prove as a murder.
Right.
Because their law is stating that this had to have been done because you wanted to do it, not because, somebody else wanted it done, or like, like a manslaughter situation.
Right.
So this was going to be really hard to prove because they had all these videos of Brandis wanting to be killed.
Right.
Also, cannibalism is not illegal, and it's actually not illegal in many countries. And they're saying this is because, like, say if you're in an emergency situation, you're stuck in the freezing cold and you're, whoever with you dies and you eat them to stay alive. That should not be illegal. Right. You had to do what you had to do to stay alive. So that puts a sticky situation on stuff like this, where he murdered somebody to eat them, but cannibalism isn't illegal. So what are we going to do?
Right.
On January 30th, 2004, he was charged with manslaughter and sentenced to 8.5 years in prison.
Oh,
what?
My God.
Yes. Yes, he was. So,
fucking Germany, dude.
Just everyone sit down. It's fine. We're going to calm down because we remember that Armin's an idiot, right? We remember this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Armin's not happy with this outcome because he does not think that he did anything wrong.
Right, yeah.
This guy wanted to die. and he gave him the death that he wanted.
Yeah.
He did it exactly how the guy wanted it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the citizens of Germany were also pissed with this outcome because they don't want this guy out that quickly. That's
exactly. Yeah.
Crazy pants.
Yeah.
So on April 22nd, 2005, the Court of Appeals reversed the sentence. But we got to remember this is Germany, not the United States.
Yes.
So they retried him. So January 12th, 2006, the trial restarted. But this time, they have to prove a motive so that it can be murder. Right?
No.
So they have to prove that it was not an assisted killing or assisted suicide, and that this was because Armin had desires to do this. He had sexual and dark desires, and he wanted to kill Brandis.
Right.
So Armin had told the police that he had watched that video that he made of him killing and butchering him and masturbated plenty of times. And so at this point, they're like, well, this is a sexual fantasy.
Yes.
And he wanted this. He wanted to do this. This was his motive.
Yeah.
So the prosecutors were able to prove that Brandis was not able to make sound decisions due to the amount of alcohol and drugs that were in his system at the time.
Thank you.
And the doctor also said in the video that they were able to see that Brandis was still breathing when Armin started butchering him.
Oh.
First of all, could you imagine having to watch that video?
No,
Like,
I was literally thinking that.
Never sign me up to be the person that has to watch those things.
No.
So they said that you could tell that he was breathing and he did move his head. And so Armin slit his throat. And then he bled out. Which the entire time Armin was denying. Because Armin was saying that he was dead. Like he died from his penis being cut off, which is what Brandis wanted. Brandis wanted to die from being castrated.
Yeah.
And so this is proving that he did not wait. He did not kill Brandis the way he wanted. He killed him because he wanted him dead so he could butcher him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So during all of this court thing, again, he is completely unfazed. He did nothing wrong. He is laughing. The woman that they were interviewing said that the worst part of it was he would smile and laugh and you could see his teeth, and everybody would just cringe and be disgusted when they saw his teeth because they knew what his teeth had eaten.
Right.
And so it was just disgusting. And then on May 9th, 2006, they convicted him of the murder of Brandis. And he was given life in prison in Germany.
Jeez. Good.
So, again, a lot of countries have a different understanding of what life, or I shouldn't say understanding, they just have different rules for what life in prison is than what the United States do. So it is just a minimum of 15 years. So it could be 15 years and they let him go.
Yeah.
As of 2020, Armin has been allowed to go outside of the prison supervised and in disguise to go around town into different states. In prison, Armin works at the laundry or does the laundry and often attends church service.
So they're just like putting him in disguise and taking him out and like to
That is so creepy. Like, get your shit together, Germany.
Right. What is happening?
What the fuck?
Also, I hope his piece of shit dad that abandoned him feels like a total piece of shit from reading all this and knows what happened. Like, I hope he was still alive
to hear exactly
what happened.
Yeah.
And then in 2023, that 32, 36. I'll get it right eventually. That 36-bedroom house was burnt down, suspected it was an arson attack.
The people in the town were like, no, fuck this.
Yeah, burn that shit down. Yeah.
Yeah. So it says on here that 2 juveniles were suspected and under investigation, but nobody's ever been arrested for the arson of the house.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
I've never heard like the full story of that before. I've heard bits and pieces of it. That's
disgusting. I have heard bits and pieces as well. Now that when you got into it, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But never like that. So good job. But that was disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And, and just the amount of pain that we knew he was in. And then he had to sit there and like slowly die.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel sad, period, that was something that he agreed to
like he was
and
so,
wanted.
He was so
and like,
sad that he wanted that.
Yeah.
Right.
And could you imagine being his partner and then realizing that he like left home? Like, I just can't imagine the like sadness that went along with that and all the sorts of like confusing.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Like, I just, it's so sad.
And this is like you said like the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s.
He got convicted the second time in 2006.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these places are like, these websites are still a thing. Like,
yes, and you can still
shit like this going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
But that's not uncommon for like cannibalism in general, is to like you want to hold on to somebody, like you want someone with you to like kind of keep with you. And that's like Dahmer said the same thing. And that's why he would keep the heads and stuff. Like he just needed that validation because he was so fucked up as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, same thing with him. He was abandoned pretty much.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
And, he thought, this is the only way I can for sure make somebody stay with me.
Right.
Forever. And that's the same with this kid. He was a child envisioning having a little brother that he had to eat to make stay with him, because his two half siblings left as soon as they could. Like they apparently, it was like immediate, and he had no relationship with them. So, I don't get it. It just makes me so sad, and I hate everything about it on both ends.
That's so wild.
Also, it's disgusting and painful and horrible.
Ugh. This story, it grosses me out, but it's fascinating. It's horrible and disgusting, but there are actually people like that.
Yeah.
To this day, and it's happening. And a lot of people don't realize.
You know what this makes me think of? And I do not, this is going to sound so insensitive, and I swear I don't mean it in any insensitive way, but there's a episode of Supernatural where it's like monsters that are trying to get like body parts and stuff. And so they're like, it's like the black market or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And it's what they're doing. They're like auctioning off these humans so the monsters can eat them.
Yeah.
Yep.
It reminds me of, do you remember that movie Hard Candy?
I don't think I ever watched that movie.
With Elliot Page. It's really messed up and it's wild, but it's a good movie. Everyone should go. Highly recommend.
Now that you say Elliot Page, I do think I should remember something with orange juice.
Yes. Yeah. He was basically trying to catch a child predator. And a lot of really crazy shit happens. It's all takes place in this one house. Like, it's a very, very good movie. It's
okay. I think I might have seen it. I just don't remember it. I just remember them like, I think they were like mixing drugs into orange juice or something because it like hides the taste or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. Which is another reason why I don't drink orange juice. But I'm sure we've talked about this before. I can't drink orange juice, even if I buy it and I'm pouring it. I can't do it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's something in my brain.
It's just one of those things, those weird things.
I can't do it. Like when we were at Disney and I was drinking mimosas with orange juice in them, I was like, okay, at least I'm around everybody if something fucking happens. Like I don't.
Oh, wow. Good job.
That was
Thanks.
good.
That was a horrible time.
Yeah, but
that's horrific.
People don't realize that it's still actively happening. Like a lot of this shit. Ugh, it's so wild.
No.
Gross.
I am thankful that is something that I've never wanted to do, nor do I ever want to think about doing it, or
no.
Just no.
Me either. But I have this story.
No.
So at my last job, I'm fascinated with true crime and all that kind of stuff. I went down a rabbit hole of cannibalism for a long time, and with my tism, I talked to people about it. So
yeah.
I was telling my coworkers all about cannibalism and these people that I researched and what human meat tastes like and blah, 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 blah. And one of my coworkers goes to my boss and is like, I am not convinced that Sage has not eaten somebody because of the facts that he knows. And I was like, my boss comes out and he's laughing, obviously, because they all know me. And he was like, Sage, have you tried to eat somebody before? And I look at them both in the eye and I'm like, you'll never know. And I turn around and walk out of the store. I haven't. Nothing like that has ever happened. It was just funny to me that someone was legitimately concerned that I had tried to eat somebody.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I was when I was reading about this story, there was a doctor who was saying that there's a disease that you can get when you eat, when humans eat another human, and you could only get this disease by eating another human. And they said it's certain parts, specifically the brain was one of them, and I forgot what did it again.
Yep. Thumbs up.
And there's a few other parts, I forgot what they were, but it was pretty much just your body telling you not to do that.
Yeah, this is
and it'll literally make people go insane.
It's
eating other people.
It's like that movie with the vampire movie with Ethan Hawke, Daybreaker.
Yeah.
Where the vampires are starting to drink their own blood and they're becoming feral, basically, and that's kind of what happens to humans. They're animalistic almost afterwards. It's so wild.
Yeah, crazy.
It's so wild. Jeez, it was good.
Thank you.
This is super fascinating to me and horrible to think about.
I'm gonna have nightmares now.
Right.
And now my phone's going to be all just about cannibalism for a good month or two. Yeah. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. That was good. All right. Well, Storm, where can they find us if they want to listen to more?
We are on Facebook, 3 Siblings Walk Into a Bar. We are on Instagram at 3SWIP Podcast. Go on there, comment, do all the things. Also, please rate and review. It's super, super helpful for us. Also, we've had quite a few new countries listen in recently, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm going to try to find a list of everybody just because I don't have it pulled up, so I don't know. So that way I can shout everybody out. But yes, we're going to do that. And then YouTube, please go watch us on there. Also, comment, all the things.
Hit that bell so you don't lose us on the internet.
Yes, right. Yeah. Right here. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what happens when 3 siblings walk into a bar.